Today we're doing a review of the Gertrude Jekyll rose, named after the famous gardener Gertrude Jekyll and her garden at Munstead Wood. I have had the pleasure of reading multiple of her rose books, and although they were a bit dated, I always found them inspiring. This rose in itself is like an old love for me. It was the first rose along with Chandos Beauty that really showed me what rose fragrance could be and ended up starting much of my fragrant rose collection. So I'm very nostalgic for this rose. But sadly, like with all old relationships, sometimes you ask yourself if you have outgrown it. If I had to rate Gertrude Jekyll just on scent or flower, it would be one of the best roses in the world. Big, beautiful, scented blooms, owing much of the scent to Comte de Chambord. Sadly, there's one downside. Gertrude Jekyll has quite a blackspot issue, and it is one of the first roses every year in my garden to begin with blackspot. This leads me asking if I have outgrown it. Because today I have so many beautiful and wonderful scented roses that I feel like I have to ask if time simply hasn't run out for Gertrude Jekyll with so many fragrant and new healthy climbers. So why bother with the black spot at all when there are new modern hybrids out there? I have debated with myself maybe moving it to the historic rose garden or growing it as a bush. But yeah, it's still only a thought for me. But the black spot is really an issue for me. But the blooms and fragrance are really wonderful, and what I'm really trying to describe here is my love and hate relationship with Gertrude Jekyll. I am forever grateful for her fragrance and her blooms, and I am forever at odds with the black spot. As normal, we are ranking on 5 categories: health, fragrance, form, flower, and storytelling. You can read under each what they're about. And each category can give a max of 10 points. And 50 is exceptional, and below 10 is very bad. So how would I rank Gertrude Jekyll? I would rank it 6 on health because of the black spot issue, 8.5 on fragrance because it's not totally a 9. I would still say something like Princess Charlene de Monaco, and a lot of things I rank higher. Also, Poet's Wife are still a bit higher for me, but it can depend on the weather. But I'm quite satisfied giving it an 8.5 on fragrance. I give it a 7 on form because the canes can get a bit more, a bit more bare if it's an old rose. Doesn't really do it when it's a new young rose or if you cut it down. But it will do it as the older it gets, it can get more bare canes. And I rank it 8.5 on flower. The flowers are really big and beautiful and really pretty, so nothing bad there. And I rank it 6 on storytelling. You have a very basic story with it being linked to a famous gardener. So yeah, that's a classic 6 for me on storytelling. And for that reason, we end at 36 points for me. Now, if the plant had not suffered black spot, it would have been an instant gold medal for me on fragrance and blooms. It is always floriferous, and there's so many good qualities to still admire in Gertrude Jekyll. So if you run a spray garden, Gertrude Jekyll might still be a gold medal for you. Would I recommend Gertrude Jekyll? Yes, she's a wonderful rose with many good qualities, especially on fragrance. But at the end of your journey, you might find you don't need her as much anymore because you find all these more rare and new varieties that are simply more healthy and still very fragrant. And then you might start questioning her, because if she's the one that is to blame for many of your other roses near her getting black spot, then you're in a dilemma, right? Because you have these healthy, fragrant varieties that are now starting to suffer a bit because of Gertrude Jekyll. So what I'll really ask you is, what is your tolerance for black spot, contra how much do you want a highly scented, fragrant rose? And that is really a question you have to decide for yourself. But what I do find with this rose is it's very dependent on the weather to perform well. If the weather goes very bad, then you'll get the black spot issues, and those black spot issues will really tend to spread. And she does get a lot of black spot issues, just like the historic roses, which was why I was considering moving her into my historic rose garden and growing her as a bush. But yeah, it's only been a thought for now. Let me know what you think about Gertrude Jekyll. Do you still love her, or do you take issue with the black spot? And how close are you to deciding to grow something else, or would you never leave Gertrude Jekyll behind? Let me know your opinion, because this has been a very tough rose for me to decide on. I could easily see myself, if I had rated this rose 3 years ago, I could easily have seen it gotten like 40 points. But I feel like now I have simply outgrown it, and the black spot issues are starting to annoy me a bit. But I still really love that fragrance, and I really love those flowers. So yeah, I think I'll sum this rose up with it is a love-hate relationship for me, and leave it at that.